Ron. Calling Ron. Ron, are you out there?
Okay, okay, we're live on the YouTube. Hey, YouTube!
Hey, Ronnie, the Roninator.
Always looking for Ron. That's always our
Ronster.
cue to start the official Raiders fan radio. And there he is.
Is he on?
He's him and Dakota Raider. What's up, fellas?
Hey guys.
Hey, two made men right there joining us
Man.
in Murph's fan cave.
They must have been talking to each other on the phone.
That's pretty. That's pretty awesome, man. Right on.
Let's go. We got nothing else to do. There's no golf.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys jumping in for sure.
Idiots.
Oh, I forgot. I got to change the name of the stream. I got it on episode 91, Mosh. I got to change it to 92.
Fix it.
I know.
Fix it.
Hopefully it'll say 91, but it'll be 92.
Hit the restart.
Okay. No, I can't. We got the guys in there. I can't restart it.
Tell them real quick. We'll be right back.
No, I'd be all right. I'll change it in post. It'll be all right.
Okay.
Okay, we good? You ready to start?
I'm in.
Okay, let's do it.
Raiders! Turn on a flashlight, flip a light switch, strike a match, just light something on fire. Welcome to Murph's Fan Cave from the Dago Dungeon. Join me, Uncle Mosh, as we join Raiders Fan Radio, taking a lighter journey into the dark side.
Okay, we're back. Look left, look right, Balaknikov, a leaking pass, touchdown!
We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Intercepted by Khalil Mack, touchdown! Raiders!
The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Well, I love this team. I think this team can win. I think this team can win.
What is up, Raider Nation? Welcome once again into Murph's Fan Cave for another fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio, episode number 92.
92.
Episode number 92 here in the formerly Dago Dungeon, now Murph's Fan Cave for Raiders Fan Radio, which is the first show on the Murph's Fan Cave network, first of three.
Wow.
Yeah.
It'll always be the Dago Dungeon to me.
It will always be the day. Well, because you coined the term.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And that disembodied voice you hear is that of none other than my Uncle Mosh. Welcome, Uncle Mosh, to another episode of Raiders Fan Radio.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Episode 92. 92.
Episode 92. Thanks again for joining us. Thank you to those of you that are joining us on YouTube Live. See you guys in the chat there. Dakota Raider, Ron, a couple of made men joining us, Uncle Mosh, already right off the bat, right here and on the live stream of Raiders Fan Radio. So
it's exciting because a few people have asked, Uncle Mosh, what do you drink out of your Raiders swag cup? I'm not telling.
Don't tell them. Don't keep it a secret. That's right. Yeah. Oh, wait. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Are you?
That's good stuff.
So, Uncle Mosh, we got a lot to get to today. We have a jam-packed show here on Raiders Fan Radio.
Oh my gosh, we're so excited with Boner and the Nerd. Here we go. You killed me when you said that a couple weeks ago. Oh my gosh.
But I think you just said so excited with a boner. I'm pretty sure that's what you just said.
No, I'm really not going to tell you what I'm drinking.
Oh, man. E for everyone here, Uncle Mosh.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, Raider Bear in the chat says, there you go. Uncle Mosh booing himself. Raider Bear says Uncle Mosh has jungle juice in that cup. That's fantastic. All right. So anyways, we got a ton of stuff to get to. We are over-prepared and overwhelmed for this episode of Raiders Fan Radio. So forgive us for moving along quickly here, but we are going to have oh, no.
What just happened?
I didn't have the record thing hit up here.
Oh, start again.
Okay. You guys get to go through this with us all over again, YouTube. I'm so sorry, YouTube. You're going to hear this one more time. Here we go.
Hey, Ron, are you still there?
Yeah, here we go. Oh, and I just hit the wrong button.
Do it again.
There it is.
Turn on a flashlight, flip a light switch, strike a match, just light something on fire. Welcome to Murph's Fan Cave from the Dago Dungeon. Join me, Uncle Mosh, as we join Raiders Fan Radio, taking a lighter journey into the dark side.
Okay, we're back. Look left, look right. Balaknikov, a leaking pass. Touchdown!
We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Intercepted by Khalil Mack. Touchdown! Raiders!
The Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Well, I love this team. I think this team can win. I think this team can win.
What is up, Raider Nation? Welcome once again to another fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio. Raiders Fan Radio, episode number 92 here in Murph's Fan Cave. And
We're so stupid.
We're so stupid. For those of you that are on the podcast, you don't know this, but for the YouTube folks, I forgot to start the podcast recording. So we kind of already started our intro of the show, and then I realized I didn't have the button pushed.
You know, the best part about that is like when that is rolling, that beginning part is rolling.
Yeah.
You and me are like, we're like little kids in church, man. We're like, no, don't talk over John Madden.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're like, we'll talk over anybody that's still alive and functional and all that. And we're like,
don't talk.
No. Al Davis is coming.
So that voice you hear, of course, is the one and only Uncle Mosh. Uncle Mosh, welcome to episode number 92 here of Raiders Fan Radio here in formerly the Dago Dungeon, now Murph's Fan Cave. Welcome back once again, as always.
Well, it's so nice to be here, Murph. I'm not going to say what I said the first time when we screwed it up, but that's okay. But 92, I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good deal. Well, welcome to good to have you back. So we have a jam-packed show today for episode number 92 of Raiders Fan Radio. We have so much to get to, so we are over-prepared and overwhelmed today with so much to talk about. So bear with us. We're going to move through it as quick as we can to try to keep this thing under the running time of the extended version of the Two Towers.
That's right. Extended version of the Two Towers, plus all the trailers that go along with it. So we're shooting for 4 hours.
4 hours. Which, nothing like a good Lord of the Rings reference on the day when you have your interview guest is someone known as the Raider Nerd, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So today here on Raiders Fan Radio, we got an interview at the end of the show with the one and only Kevin, the Raider Nerd. Kevin, if you don't know who he is, we met him last year in person at week 1 of the Raiders-Titans game in Nashville. Kevin is part of the Raiders Atlanta fan club, and also he's a cosplayer. He does it's a Boba Fett Mandalorian-looking Star Wars Raider thing. It's amazing. He's got this big shield and stuff, and it says the Raider Nerd on it and whatnot. So anyways, we have a great interview with Kevin. He's a global traveler. The guy represents Raider Nation all over the place, and again, he's a card-carrying member, literally, of Raider Nation.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got some great pics of him in his costume. You and Sonny took some great photos of him last year at the week 1. So
yes, absolutely.
Check out the website, and it's all over that.
Yeah, he joined us at our tailgate, is where we met him in person, and we've gotten to know Kevin quite well over the past year. He's guested on this show now his 3rd time, and then I've guested on a few of the shows that they do on their network. And so he and his buddy Kyle and Norm, those guys, they do an amazing job, have a great network, and some great shows over there. So definitely check them out. But we'll talk plenty about that later. So that's coming up at the end of the show. In the meantime, before that, we're going to talk about a few things here. We got, as Uncle Mosh mentioned, it's episode number 92. So we're going to talk about our player that we always honor with our episode number. We are going to do our 4-minute offense, which is a newish now segment on the show where we run down 5 Raiders stories in 4 minutes. Then we're going to get into the postseason game that happened just the other night between the Packers and the Raiders. Then we're going to talk about what happens when a fan runs on the field. Then we're going to listen to some of you. Lots of guys joining us here in the chat already. Thank you to those of you that are joining us. We're going to hear from some of you that have called into the show. Uncle Mosh, we already have some made men here in the YouTube chat. Dakota Raider, of course, Ron. I see Raider Bear in there. Joe Budiso. Joe Budiso. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing that right. But anyways, and Raider Noel in there. So we got some folks already joining us in the chat room.
Nice.
Appreciate when you all interact with us, of course, here on Raiders Fan Radio, and that's where we head into the Sea of Fans mailbag to listen to you all.
You got a surprise too, right?
I got a surprise, a new segment tonight.
A new segment we're going to introduce.
Segment tonight. Plus, also we're going to talk about some Madden, Kirk Morrison. I mean, Mosh, it's crazy. We got so much stuff to talk about.
All done in 21 minutes.
All done in 21 minutes. Yeah. We can spend 21 minutes talking about Khalil Mack.
We tried to start the show for the last 21 minutes.
Yeah. So speaking of Khalil Mack, I want to run something by you real quick, Uncle Mosh. So before we even get into the player info, before we get into the contact, just something I want to throw at you. You know, I've kind of rallied against mainstream media a little bit here lately with the Khalil Mack stuff, with some of the notions that have been thrown out there. You know, the Raiders don't have money and they haven't accounted for his salary via the salary cap and like all these things that people are accusing the Raiders of not doing, right? One of the things that I've said, and I think is a common thread in this, is that one of the things that does link to this directly is Aaron Donald. And that there's another player, a very significant player, reigning defensive player of the year, that is also holding out and also has a pending contract. And that those two are going to be uniquely connected one way or the other, because one of them is going to sign, and then the other one is going to sign based on that market value that gets established. That's kind of a known thing, right? So this morning I'm listening to Fox Sports Radio, Uncle Mosh. Bucky Brooks is on there. I forget the name of the host of the show. Bucky is the guy that kind of did the color commentary of it. But something that they were talking about with Aaron Donald, they're talking about the money that's being considered, that it's an upwards of $25 million, that's a lot of money, not only for a player, but considering that how nowadays in the NFL, the defenses are now really being taken out of the equation a lot of times because of the way that the penalties are working, the way that offenses are being, really allowed to do so much more, and that where there's really a little bit of a devalue being put on defense. And in how in those terms, a guy looking for $25 million, it may not make a lot of sense to sign him to that large of a contract. Okay. Excellent talking points. You know what they weren't talking about?
What's that?
Stan Kroenke doesn't have enough money. The Rams didn't account for the salary cap. All this garbage that gets thrown out there in terms of when they discuss it among the Raiders, nobody's saying the same stuff in terms of the Rams. That was a very valid way to discuss why that guy's not in their camp. Why in the crap can't we look at it the same way in terms of Mack and the Raiders?
It drives me nuts. You know, here's the thing. This isn't new. Guys holding out isn't new. This happens every year. It just so happens it's our turn. Let it go. Let it go.
It's going to happen.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So, anyway, I just wanted to get that out at the top of the show. I don't want to get into a big thing on Mack later. I think we've talked about it enough. But I thought that was – I just want to highlight what those guys did. And, like, as you're Raider Nation going through and listening and consuming your media in terms of this stuff, those are the kind of pay attention to people like that.
You know,
that makes sense, right?
We're not Raider Nation. We're not even majoring on the minors. We're majoring on stuff that's made up.
Yes.
You know, on non sequitur stuff.
Yes.
None of it flows, guys.
No.
Jeez, Pete.
No, absolutely not. So anyway, so good job by the guys at Fox Sports Radio. Good job, Bucky Brooks. Excellent discussion there. All right, so that's now that we got that down and out of the way. Now let's get into the next episode of Raiders Fan Radio. And first off, Uncle Mosh can tell you how you can get in touch with us.
All right, boys and girls, pay attention. You got your old Uncle Mosh here with an update. That's right. I got some stuff for you. Take out a piece of paper, a pencil, a pen. Heck, use your pocket knife and carve the info into your dashboard as you're driving down the highway. First off, you need to like us on our fan page on Facebook. That's right. Go to Facebook at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. Don't forget about the Twitter. You know your old Uncle Mosh, he twits now. That's right. Go to at Raiders Fan Radio. Also, don't forget the Instagram at Raiders Fan Radio. Or what about our website? That's right, RaidersFanRadio.com. Heck, if you want to, you can even email us, show at RaidersFanRadio.com, or call us on the Raiders Fan Radio hotline, 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Don't forget Murph's Fan Cave on the YouTube, where you can get all the show links like the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. Find all our stuff on podcast providers like Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. All right, did I hit the time limit? Good.
All right, Uncle Mosh, we always like to honor a player with our episode here on Raiders Fan Radio. So the episode being number 92. Sometimes we'll go with a year. Sometimes we'll go with, like we went with Red Right 88, depending on what it is. We love
numbers.
We love numbers. We're not math guys, but we're definitely numbers guys. And so anyways, so for number 92, I kind of did something unique, Mosh.
First time ever.
First time ever. Follow with me on this, Raider Nation. Tell me what you think. Curious to hear your all's feedback on it. This is episode number 92, so we needed to feature number 92. And the most obvious choice, the most, I would say, recognizable number 92 for the Raiders. And considering how long the Raiders' history has been, it was kind of surprising to me that this was the guy that we kind of locked into. But it was Richard Seymour. But I didn't like Richard Seymour when he was a Raider.
Why not?
The Patriots let him go.
Right.
Or I forget what the actual transaction determined was. I think we technically we traded somehow for. I don't remember it all. Don't kill me for that, Raider Nation. But anyways, so Richard Seymour, so he makes his way over, and he didn't report initially, he didn't want to be a Raider. He was I'm pretty sure it was a trade, and he was pissed that he got traded, and so he didn't show up to camp. He held out, and the Raiders ended up franchise tagging him, and then we ultimately signed him to a 2-year deal after that, and it was for an exorbitant amount of money.
Right, we thought a lot more of him than he thought of us.
Yeah, absolutely, right.
Yeah.
And then all he did during his playing time was he was supposed to be this mentor to bring guys along like Tommy Kelly and whatnot, but all he did was spit on Ben Roethlisberger and punch him and got fined $25,000 and
he should have got a bonus for that.
That's right. You hate the Steelers. You hate the dang Steelers. But it was just a lot of things. He never really represented and we're not opposed to
punching Ben Roethlisberger. Right. We're not opposed to that.
But you got to win too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You got to be able to back it up.
Yeah,
back it up with some
W's. I just never I never embraced Richard Seymour.
I gotcha.
As a Raider. So anyways, in looking around, someone in the chat, Raider Bear mentioned Stacy McGee, wearing the number 92 most, semi recently. But I decided to go with the Rook. I decided to go with the new
move.
Yeah, I'm really going off the page here because we always pick somebody that kind of epitomizes, the Raiderness, as much as we possibly can. So I don't know if PJ Hall's going to do it or not, but I'm going to go with the young man is balling out here. I know it's a preseason. I'm not putting a gold jacket on him, but he's balling out here in the preseason, and he is a unique talent. So now how much that transfers to the NFL, we will ultimately see. But as far as his athletic ability, the guy's kind of a freak. So let's go and listen to a little bit of audio from NFL Network talking about P.J. Hall.
You look at the P.J. Hall tape from college, and you say, wow, but granted it was at Sam Houston State. He could do some damage if he can do even half of what he did at Sam Houston State at the next level. What about maybe an under-the-radar guy to keep an eye on today as John Gruden gets those rookies on the field for the first time? James?
Well, you put him on the radar, and it's P.J. Hall. I think nobody knew anything about this guy. He wasn't invited to the Combine, and then at his pro day at Sam Houston State, this guy, remember, he's a defensive tackle under 6'1", and at about 310 pounds. his vert was 38 inches.
Wow.
Would have been second among defensive linemen at the combine, and then he benches 36. He runs about a 4.7 40, and then everybody want to know who he was. He's a kid that was a running back in high school, blocked 14 kicks at Sam Houston State. John Gruden, I was there, Andrew, at the owners' meetings when he was pounding the table saying we need to get interior pressure to help Khalil Mack. Well, him and Hurst could be that spot that they could get some pressure on an offensive line and be able to help Khalil Mack become even more disruptive, if that's possible, but they'd like to see it.
There you go, Uncle Mosh. What do you think? P.J. Hall, wearing number 92, representing, or we're honoring P.J. Hall. Sounds funny to say that. We're going to honor a rookie, but that's who we're going to go with.
Even if he doesn't make the team, he'll always go down in history as RFR number 92.
That's right.
Hey, Raider Nation, I just want to say hello. This is Pastor Mondo of NationMinistry.net. You're listening to Raider Fan Radio with Uncle Mosh and my brother, Murph. Just win, baby.
All right, Uncle Mosh, next up here on Raiders Fan Radio, we are going to get to our newest segment. Newest until this
till today.
Yeah, till we get to later on in the show. But for right now, our newest segment is the 4-minute offense, and this is where we cover 5 Raider topics in 4 minutes. And we limit ourselves because otherwise we'd be here all night. So we're going to go jump in here. You ready, Uncle Mosh?
Ooh. Okay.
Okay, let me get the pink. Let me get the Pink Floyd timer ready. Yeah. Okay, you ready?
I got the buzzer ready.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, here we go. Uncle Mosh, the Raiders cut Obi Melifonwu. They said that he doesn't. The reports say he didn't love football enough. That John Gruden never embraced him because if you don't love football as much as John Gruden, then you're not really necessarily welcome on the team. Can you possibly make it through your entire playing career into the second round, get drafted by an NFL team, and not love football enough?
Oh, what a label to be labeled with.
I know.
Ay. Oh, well. Moving right along. That's just harsh. That's a hard one for us to swallow, man. We really like that guy.
I like Obi Melifonwu, a veteran of Raiders Fan Radio.
The Raiders, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
Yeah, we did.
Love that Tennessee connection.
Yes.
Here's what's really cool about this guy. He went to Tennessee State University and played ball for the Tennessee State Tigers, but he ran track for the Tennessee State University.
Yeah.
So it was
very
great.
cool. That's why he's so fast. Guy ran like a 4.29 at the combine.
It was crazy. He was an NCAA All-American. I mean, the guy is
awesome.
amazing. What an addition to the team. That's going to be amazing.
That's going to be cool. Definitely Al Davis approved signing there. You know what I mean? No doubt.
Going for the speed.
And also a number 16 overall pick.
That's right.
As Jerry Rice, Pete Koch, now Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. Who else? E.J. Manuel.
And last week. I'm dying here.
Lots of them.
Yeah.
We gotta get going.
Go. You're next.
All right. Can I officially hate on Pharaoh Brown now? I ask you this every week. He committed another goddamn holding penalty. Pharaoh Brown, get your 81 off my TV.
He's gone. He's out of here. You can hate on him.
Okay.
Call Q-Dog. Put him on the hit list.
Put him on the hit list. Double tap.
Hey, let me ask you a quick question. Is it fair to criticize Gruden for being different?
Well, here's what I got to ask you, Uncle Mosh, is that Gruden has been criticized for this living in the past, this whole thing, right?
Right.
But then he does things like not play his starters, right? And he's criticized then for doing that. And you look at what has happened around the league with the injuries. Like, I'm okay with Gruden not following suit. We saw Cam Newton land on his gosh darn head. Like, I'm okay with having him do different things. Like, let's not do both. Let's not criticize him for being the same old, and criticize him for doing new stuff as well.
Here's what I don't get. We went nuts when we got Gruden. Now we're nuts because we have him. Come on, folks. Let's give him a chance.
Yeah.
Can we get through to the first game?
I know, right?
Lighten up.
Lighten up. All right, so Uncle Mosh, our buddy James Cowser. The depth chart came out recently. It was before the last game. Is James Cowser going to make this football team?
I'm all for the Cows. The Cows, he's an amazing guy.
He speaks Mandarin Chinese.
He's so smart. Is he going to make it? I don't know. It's going to be a tough one to see.
It's going to be a tough one.
It's going to be a tough one. I'm hoping for him, though.
Uncle Mosh, we got through the 4-minute offense in like 3 minutes.
Wow.
I know.
Can we talk about Pharaoh Brown?
That was easy. That was too easy. Tell us more about Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
I'll tell you this. We're going to talk about Madden later on in the show. I am so glad for my Madden game. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie is you got to have fast corners in Madden.
Yeah.
And he is one of the fastest corners, always has been. He's a Madden gem. I'm so excited that he's coming over and going to be a Raider now.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. Is it going to hit yet? We make it? Filler.
We'll go early.
In the industry, they do this. They go, there it is. Well, no, that's your buzzer. That's not.
Oh, right.
They say stretch. They say stretch.
This is great radio.
Oh, my gosh. This is terrible. There it is. All right.
We thought we were going to go long on that.
I thought we were going to go way longer on that. Now, okay, so here's what's happened. So the first time we did it, we ran out. The second time we did it, we got a little bit better. Now the third time, we've overswung the pendulum. So now, Uncle Mosh, we need to just pace ourselves and take our time and just let the 4-minute offense evolve, man. You can't rush through it.
We got it. You know what we got to do? We got to quit eating all that sugar before the show.
I know, right?
We sugered up.
And sucking down caffeine.
Oh, my gosh. I had coffee before the show, and it was like...
I know. So, I do have a little piece of audio here that's pretty cool. Speaking of Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, Gruden talked a little bit about having him on the team. And the reason that we bring it up, too, so much is that was the corresponding move after the Raiders cut Obi Melifonwu. Let's hear from Coach about DRC.
I just like having Rodgers-Cromartie out here. You know, we've had a number of corners go down. You know, and we need somebody to come in here to make a play on a ball, somebody that has a history in this league. He's got a lot of clout, and a lot of people know who he is. And we're hoping we can rejuvenate him, get him acclimated to our defense, and potentially utilize his skills. He's proven for a long time that he can play.
There we go. Bringing in another potential leader on defense, Uncle Mosh. Love it.
He's hoping that we can rejuvenate him. I love that, Coach. I love it.
We have a go for main engine start. And we have main engine start. 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of Discovery.
Hello, I'm astronaut Jose Hernandez, and you're listening to Raiders Fan Radio.
All right, Uncle Mosh, next up here on the show, we are going to cover the Raiders-Packers preseason game that just happened. You know, I missed the first part of the game, as you did as well, because you and I were at a high school football game. You know, it's funny, Uncle Mosh, there were more touchdowns in the first 2 plays of that high school football game than there were in this entire Raiders-Packers game.
Isn't that crazy? And it wasn't a bad game.
No, it wasn't a bad game. It started off, it was exciting. There was it's funny. Uncle Mosh and I are always pretty much in unison on our fandom when it comes to things. But in this case, you were on one sideline and I was on the other. We were representing 2 different schools, and my school had an 80-yard touchdown pass. It was a little quick slant over the middle that turned into an 80-yard touchdown.
11 seconds.
11 seconds in, and then the next play, when your school got the ball, it was a 64-yard bomb that the pass went 35, 40 yards in the air before the kid made an amazing catch downfield and then took it in for a touchdown. So that was pretty fun. That was pretty
7-7 with the 20. I think it was like 26 seconds off of the clock.
That's amazing. It was pretty fun. But anyway, so we had a good time watching that. So I had to watch the game on delay, and NFL Network was kind of funky. Like, they didn't show the first quarter. So even though I had it recorded, they kind of missed the first quarter. So I missed live anyways when Derek Carr's deep pass to Amari Cooper and whatnot, and I missed some of the early plays. Of course, the starters didn't play long, as we mentioned just a few minutes ago. They were only in there for just a little bit. But anyway, so let's go ahead and JT the Brick does some great intros for these home games, and let's listen to what he had to say about the Raiders and the Packers.
You can't deny it. These 2 franchises share some history. Before he was a household name, John Gruden paid his dues in Green Bay.
That's after you get off the first 15, power and H.
Before donning the silver and black, Jordy Nelson made big plays count.
End zone, touchdown!
But even they've got something to prove. You got to show out to make the final 53. Under the lights in Oakland. Need I say more?
Raiders, Packers, let's get it on.
Uncle Mosh, something fun before the game actually started when the players were out there on the field for warm-ups. Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers were kind of sharing the same area of the field warming up. And you want to tell us what happened?
Now go ahead.
Well, it's pretty cool. Derek kind of meanders over to A-Rod's there and nudges him, and you can't hear the audio. I've watched it, but you can't really pick up what they're saying.
Don't see what they're saying.
Yeah, but basically he tells them, like, let's take a turn throwing to each other's wide receivers. And, there's Devontae Adams, who's the Packers receiver, was a teammate of Derek Carr's in college at Fresno State. And then also Jordy Nelson, as we know, freshly signed Oakland Raider, is a former Packer. And when you look at the history that Jordy has with Aaron Rodgers, it's crazy, the numbers. And so it was a kind of a neat gesture that Derek went over and suggested this. And of course, and Aaron, he's a pretty cool guy, right? He said, yeah, let's do it. And so first DC just throws an absolute bomb to Devontae Adams, which was awesome. Right. And then you could tell that they didn't show the stands, but you could tell there was a lot of Packers fans in the stands, because then Aaron Rodgers hits Jordy on like a little slant route, and the place goes nuts. You could just hear all the Packers fans cheering. It was a pretty cool moment.
Might be the coolest thing of the whole game.
It might be. And
but when they do stuff like that, that's cool. To me, that's an exciting thing in football. It's kind of like when they have they'll bring in the special populations kid and let them run a play, and both teams, they block and they miss and stuff like that. I know you can't stand him, but I go back to Pepe's last Pro Bowl, right? And Saturday, his center for all those years.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. Yeah,
that was kind of
neat. Cool.
And he went and he
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, I like. Yeah, when they kind of go off script a little bit, it's fun. Man, I'll never forget when was it Larry Walker for the Colorado Rockies that went up? It was in an All-Star game, and he went up and one of the pitcher, I forget who the pitcher was notorious for hitting people, and so Walker went up and turned his batting helmet around backwards. You remember that? That was pretty fun.
I do.
Yeah, like when stuff like it's pretty good.
And that's it humanizes the game.
Absolutely.
And so that was awesome. Man.
It was.
But you were right about their numbers. Their numbers were out of control, for both those guys.
Yeah, tell us. You got those there for
I got a little bit of that. Like Jordy Nelson, Aaron and Jordy, 470 of 705 passes, 6,919 yards, 65 TDs. I mean, come on.
That's unbelievable.
And then Devontae and DC, 131 receptions, 1,719 yards, 24 TDs at Fresno State.
That's crazy.
That's nuts, man.
That's crazy. No wonder Keith Smith doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Who played at San Jose State, the rival of Fresno State. Yeah, pretty good stuff there, man. So that was cool. It's good to see things like that. And, that might have been the most exciting thing. This only rivaled the Little League World Series in terms of nap event. There was no golf this weekend, Uncle Mosh. I took a crazy good nap when it was South Korea and Japan and the Little League World Series. I have this I don't know if this makes me a superhero or not. I have this uncanny ability to fall asleep in the beginning of a sporting event and wake up right before it's over.
That's amazing.
I'm like, I got it. Like, I know exactly what happened. Like, I watched the kids introduce themselves. I watched like the first half of the first inning. Out like a light, woke up, and the South Korean kids are congratulating themselves for winning the game.
And that was a good nap too. There was no dreaming. There was just the sweating and drooling.
That's it, man. All right, so Uncle Mosh in the game. Not a ton went on, as we mentioned. Only one significant touchdown by Chris Warren Jr. III, our favorite running back for the Raiders. But let's go ahead and hear from Coach Gruden. This was him after the game talking about the offense.
Good evening. I'm just happy to win. It's fun to win no matter what the stake of the game is, but proud of our players. Obviously, a lot of penalties. Excruciating amount of penalties. But I love the way we started offensively. We came out aggressive. I wish we would have punched it in. I thought our defense played pretty well all night. And obviously Green Bay didn't bring any of their starting offensive linemen, and it was a challenge. But I'll answer any questions I can. I've seen enough. You know, there's not much more to see. The battle for us is who's behind Derek. And wanted to get Connor in there with the first-team offensive line for a couple series. But we got a pretty good idea who our starters are on offense. And I was really pleased with Derek, how he started the game.
Uncle Mosh, coach jumps in there right away to the backup quarterback situation. You know, I feel bad for these guys. They're not doing themselves any favors, but the offensive line hasn't really been doing them any favors either. We certainly saw that in the last game. You know, this is funky because, and it's going on in the chat right now. A lot of folks are talking about it. We need a backup quarterback. I mean, you know, the Eagles proved that this year, that in the NFL nowadays, I mean, you could pretty much count on your quarterback, unfortunately, missing at least a game or two in there. And, you know, we as Raider Nation, we're definitely know what that feels like after Derek broke his leg and whatnot. So, I mean, it definitely happened. But we went for so long without a quarterback at all that I feel a little conflicted in that I get it. Like, yes, it's a big dang deal that we need a backup quarterback, but we've got a great franchise quarterback to begin with. So I don't want to, yes, it needs to be addressed, and yes, it's a concern, but speaking of overswinging the pendulum, like, I don't want to go crazy about, like, I hear these people talking about, oh, we need to trade Mack and we're going to get for Teddy Bridgewater and multiple picks and all this kind of, and I'm like, easy. Like, it's a backup quarterback. Now, I know it's important. I understand it, but golly, what do you think, Mosh?
Well, if you're going to, you can't put too much importance on a backup quarterback, even though you have to be able to have a backup quarterback. Bledsoe goes down, in comes
Brady, right?
Come on, you know. But the point is exactly what you're saying. If they're not playing with the whole first string, then how can you properly judge them?
Yeah.
And again, we're not there every single day at practice, so we're not seeing every single thing they're seeing. You know, how many snaps do they take with the first stringers? You know, I mean, I think if Gruden was really genuinely concerned about a backup quarterback, he'd have got another one.
Yeah, well, and that remains to be seen still too, right? I mean, that still potentially could very well happen. Of course, we root for EJ Manuel around here. But man, that little swing pass, I think it was EJ that threw a swing pass. It was like Richard or somebody swung, and he like threw it like 3 yards short at his feet. I'm like, whoa! Like,
okay,
like that. I mean, not good.
But but stuff happens. Marcus Mariota, the for the Titans, did almost the exact same thing. Yeah. It landed they called it the one hopper.
Yeah,
you know. But
that's true.
Stuff happens.
Yeah, that's true. I guess you just need to have a guy that's serviceable, that you want to, you know. But here's the thing, though, is that I don't know.
If they were that good, they'd be the first string, though.
Well, yeah, that's true. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, well, and that goes with any of them, right? Like,
sure.
You know what I mean? These guys, if they were that great, then they would be starting somewhere. And this whole thing with Bridgewater, I was thinking about this today. You know, I watched part of the Jets-Giants game, and what happened to that guy? He was so good, and he got hurt, and then, like, the Vikings, like, sold him out. Like, they were like, and now in the Jets-Giants game, they're like, Teddy Bridgewater, like, he looks like he's looking great. I'm like, when did he ever not? When he was hurt? I'm like, but that poor guy, like, I feel kind of bad for him. He kind of they say you never lose your job to injury. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Okay, all right, so next up, let's listen to Coach. He talks about the defensive side of the ball.
Well, I think they've benefited from the inside rush. You know, I think the edge rush is better if you can get some inside pass rush. And I think Arden Key, I think Brown, Calhoun has done some things. Bruce Irvin wasn't with us tonight. It was an excuse, personal matter. But I think the edge rush is going to be better if the inside rush is better, and I think that's what we've seen in the preseason.
You know, NBC on their website, they listed 3 things that we could take away from that game, you know, for the Raiders. The first one was, you know, again, it's just the quarterback. Oh, they need a backup quarterback. And then, you know, they were talking about Penn. But the one compliment that they did give us was the D-line's looking a whole lot better.
It's legit.
You know, and for NBC to say that, for them to say something good about the Raiders.
Florio hates us.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. And, you know, I'm not saying this to be self-congratulatory by any means, but going way back to the rookie camp, we had talked about this, about just how these guys looked, how they're in shorts and they're, you know, no helmets, and I get all that, but it was just something about the way that when all these guys reported, the way that they looked and the footage that the Raiders shared with us, they just looked like a bunch of badasses, man. And you know what I mean? Like they just looked good, and it was like, holy cow! This we have been saying for a long time. If we hit on just even one of these guys, if we hit on Mo Hurst or PJ Hall or Arden Key to go along with Justin Ellis and Bruce Irvin and Khalil Mack, let alone if we hit on two or it's looking like three of them. Like, holy cow. Like, I'm getting chills, man. Like, this freaking defensive line is awesome, man. It's going to be so much fun, man. We're just going to absolutely eat quarterbacks this year, which is amazing. So good. All right, so last up from Coach, he talks a little bit about the penalties. Man, let's listen to it first, Mosh, and then let's kind of tag on what happened.
You understand it? Did you understand the penalty? Seriously, did you? I didn't either. You know, and I'm going to be supportive of all the rules and everything else, but I don't want to confuse these football players. This is tackle football, and you know, I'm not sure I understand that call tonight. I do understand the rule. I've been coaching a long time. I'm totally into player safety, and that doesn't mean I understand that call tonight.
Uncle Mosh, the one he's referring to there is when Gilchrist hits Hendricks, the tight end for the, I think that's what it was. It's Hendricks. I don't know if he's tight end. I think he's tight end. Anyways, he squares up, lowers his head a little bit, just below the shoulder of Hendricks, and hits Hendricks with his shoulder. So they called him for leading with the crown of his helmet, right?
Okay.
You saw the play.
I saw the play. Here's my issue with it. He drops his stature so he doesn't go helmet-to-helmet contact, and he tackles with his shoulder. He kind of gets rocked a little bit, actually.
Yeah, he got knocked on his culo.
Yeah. So what do you want him to do?
That's what
Go back and watch it. If he kept his head up, he's going to hit him in the helmet with his helmet, and then you're looking at major issues. You know, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't understand, and it's you know, it's getting talked about more and more. The guys are going on about it in the chat right now, and they're right. It's changing not only the dynamic of the game, but it's changing fundamentally some of the things about the game. They're putting the players in a position to where they're overthinking. They're putting the officials in a position to where they're overthinking. Let me ask you this, Mosh, is that, and this is a little bit of a loaded question. We see in politics and in corporations and you name it, when a new policy is introduced, a lot of times, again, I've used this term twice tonight, there's the third, they overswing a little bit, because if your goal is to get to 5 and you introduce 10 and you get a backlash, you can then back down to 5 and everybody's happy. Make sense?
Exactly.
So is that what we're seeing, to where, and we're going to hear from Paul Gunther here in a second. He refers to, like, out of 30 games, there have been like 50 of these calls. So do you think that's going to back off when we get into the regular season? Or is this a new version of the NFL that we got to get used to?
Here's the problem with that is if you leave it up, it's too much in the hands of the refs. You know what I'm saying? It's like all of a sudden one guy makes the call, one guy doesn't, and it could be the exact same call.
Yeah.
And then there's already too much on them, on their plate as we speak. Why confuse it? Why mix it all up? It's stupid.
It is stupid.
It's, you know, kill all the coyotes and you got a rat population. You know, they're talking about concussion protocol, but the way they want them to tackle, you're going to see neck and spine injuries. God forbid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Ridiculous.
Let's go ahead and hear from Coach Paul Gunther. This was actually prior to the game, but he addresses it pretty well.
Have a good handle on the lowering the head rule, or are you, like everybody else, trying to sort your way through it?
You know, I talked to a lot of coaches about it. It's just, you know, guys get in funky positions. Sometimes it's, you know, it's unavoidable to get those things, and you know, we just try to teach the players to keep the head out of it, don't duck the head, and all you can do as a coach is keep going over those things and reassuring these guys and understanding what the rules are. But it's going to be hard to you know, I saw one the other day where the guy was coming off the edge on a rush and ducked his head and they threw a flag. So it's really all over the board with the DBs, open field things. So we just got to keep educating the players the best we can.
The Carl Joseph play, the first game.
Yeah.
When you looked at that, did you say, yeah, I can see why they called that, or were you kind of like, all right, let's try and figure this out?
I actually asked the official right after the play was over, and I think sometimes when you hear the collision, it's just a natural tendency to throw the flag. When you go back and look at the film, you can clearly see his head was to the side, and it wasn't a helmet to helmet or anything like that. And I've seen plenty of these. I think there was someone told me there was 52 of them called in 33 preseason games. So, you know, I understand you're trying to make the game safer, and we're all trying to do that. So, but at some point, you know, it is football.
You know, the more I hear from Paul Gunther, the more I like him. I've not been excited about a coordinator in a long time. This guy's legit, man.
He's great.
He's great. He's great. But you know that. But that's it, right? Like they recognize it's. I hear from both him and Gruden, they're not against the player safety aspect.
No,
they're not against any. They're willing to go along with whatever the rules are, but it's got to be more clearly defined. It's just got to. Otherwise, at some point, like you said, at some point it's football.
I was at a Pee Wee game last night. One of our other grandsons, one of your other nephews, was playing, and Made Man Greg was sitting behind me, and we were talking about stuff, and unfortunately, one of the little ones got his elbow hurt, and so they kind of carted him off, and we were listening to some of the moms in the stands going, well, this is his last game, you know, blah, 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 talking about some of the other kids. And Greg, we were talking about this rule in itself, and Greg says, you know, he's real country. Well, I just don't see why they just don't get all the players in the NFL to sign a waiver. You get hurt. Let's play ball.
Well, and you know what? And there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah.
You know, that there's got to be an acceptable. And I look at NFL's trying to protect their product.
Sure.
You know, it's all comes down to the dollar. You want to find the answer to things, follow the money trail, as we've always said, you know, and but so I get it, but at some point, man, something's got to give, because this reminds me of when we had the replacement officials. And you just had like this craziness going on. It reminds me of that. Another thought that I've heard floated out there, tell me what you think of this. No one's talking about the protest. Everyone's talking about the flags. I don't think that this was a completely calculated move by the NFL, but I think this is a byproduct that they're pleased with.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
You know,
get some good news, huh?
Yeah. All right, let's go on. Let's go to our new favorite player, number 34, Chris Warren, pounded one into the end zone for the Raiders. Man, I don't know who that defender was. He probably doesn't know what his name is right now either, because speaking of concussion protocol, Chris Warren trucked him on his way into the end zone.
6-0 linemen, a couple of tight ends, a fullback. And here comes Warren. Touchdown Raiders. A crowded.
All right, there's Chris Warren, as called by Beth Mowens, trucking it into the end zone. And you know what's funny, Mosh, is that you know, it was obviously it was clear that he took the guy out, but then chalk it up to a reporter to ask a stupid question. So here's Chris Warren postgame.
The goal for you has been, as far as like technique-wise, is to lower your shoulders. You feel like that run into the end zone, you executed it the way you wanted to get to the end zone?
Yeah, but goal line football is definitely a mentality. There is technique to it, but it's definitely a mentality.
And what was your mentality on that?
To get in the end zone, no matter what. So, I mean...
Let me speak for you, Chris Warren. This is what Chris Warren's wanting to say. You big dummy. What do you think my mentality was?
What is your mentality there?
Yeah, what is your mentality?
We're going to hand you the ball. Here's the end zone. What's your mentality? What?
It's reporters kill me sometimes, Mosh. Anyways, but there's our new favorite, Chris Warren Jr. the third. Had an amazing game, knocking in. You know, Uncle Mosh, the Raiders, we're coming up to it close. Cuts are around the corner.
Oh, buddy.
I think DeAndre Washington, man, we looked at that depth chart that got released recently. I think DeAndre Washington's going to be on the outside looking in. I hate that. but we really haven't seen a lot from him in the preseason. And, you know, Warren, Martin, and Marshawn, that makes a heck of a backfield, man. And then if you put Jalen Richard back there as your change of pace, your third down guy that can catch the ball in the backfield, you noticed they haven't ran Richard a lot. They've thrown to him a lot this preseason. I think Washington's out, man. I think Warren's going to make this football team. That's pretty cool stuff.
That is cool.
All right, so also for the game, Uncle Mosh, the defense played pretty well. We mentioned a lot already in the show the production that we've seen out of this young defensive line. One of the guys that we didn't mention was Fadol Brown. Brown had a little bit of a rough game in L.A. He got called for a personal foul. They didn't show it on screen. But in talking to Mikey, who was at the game, he said it was a late hit on a quarterback. It was a real dumb play, of course, and all we saw on the broadcast was John Gruden tearing into him. But aside from that, Fadol Brown has had pretty good preseason and had a great game here against the Packers. And let's go ahead and listen to him.
How much, I know you said it, do you really feel a new coaching staff, a new fresh set of eyes on you really gave you a fresh start?
I love these guys. I love the new coaching staff. Since the first day they got here, I mean, they demand what they demand from everybody, not just like E-Squad guys, from second-year guys, 6 years in the league. It don't matter. I mean, they just demand the most out of everybody. So, and they gave me a shot, to kind of show what I can do. So, I got a lot of respect for this coaching staff.
Did you guys feel like that this was an opportunity for you to sort of make an impact?
Oh yeah. I talk to Bruce just about every day. And like I said, he demand the most out of all of us. Me, Shalik, Art, and all the young guys that's playing defensive line. Them guys just hold us to a criteria or to a standard. So you just got to come out and do your job.
Something pretty cool there, Mosh. He's not only talking about the change in leadership on defense from a coaching perspective, he's talking about how Bruce Irvin. Bruce Irvin is now talking to these guys and mentoring. I love my favorite thing in this offseason so far. It's been numerous things, but by far the leadership structure and how the culture of the organization has changed. And I mean, from the players to the coaching staff, that's what changes the W's, right? That's where you get. That's where that comes from. Putting wins in comes from changing the organization, man, from tip to tail, right?
Yeah, the San Jose Mercury News had a really good article. 3 studs from the game, and 2 of them were off of the defense. It was Brown and Calhoun, and then of course, your guy Warren.
Oh, right on.
But
yeah.
It's hard to deny his prowess out there on the field, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. All right, last up, before we move on, let's go ahead and hear from our quarterback.
Honestly, I expected to play, well into the second quarter, and then coach just said, "Hey, man, how you feel?" I said, "I feel great. Mad we didn't score." And he's like, "All right, well, I've seen enough. You're good. You're done." Okay, but I didn't know that was his plan, or even if it was his plan. But it was good to get back out there, complete some balls, have a third down. I wanted a tough third down, and we got it. So I was thankful for that. Get a tough third down, and we were able to connect on that. So it was good.
You played the deep ball to Amari.
Yep.
Play action, something that big part of John's offense, maybe more than you guys have done in the past. What does that give to you, the play action? What can that bring to you guys?
Well, we're going to run the football. That's I don't think that's a secret. We want to run the football, and so off that you have to have the play action pass. And so if we have guys like Marshawn and Doug and our tight ends, our fullback, our line, and we can stick that ball in the belly and pull it back. We have some good receivers that can make plays downfield too. So being able to do both will really put a lot of stress on the linebackers and safeties and things like that.
Gosh, hearing Derek talk about that they're going to do more play action, that's like music, man. It's like, holy cow! Like, can you believe? Like, it's fascinating to me that you can outthink yourself so bad as an offensive coordinator that you'd be like, we're not going to do play action. We're not going to take something that can be effectively done with an amazing running back like Marshawn. We're not going to threaten that we're going to run and actually try to, change it up and fool you a little bit by running some play action. So hearing Derek talk about that was just awesome. Mosh, what do you think about that? And also his only playing a little bit before Gruden was like, get out of there.
He said, we've seen enough. Gruden, we've seen enough. You're all right. We're good. We've seen enough. Get out of there.
That's it.
Why get you hurt? We don't want to get you hurt.
Why get you hurt?
Why get you hurt?
Exactly.
I got to see these other guys.
Yeah, we don't need to worry about a backup quarterback if the first quarterback stays healthy.
Well, folks, there's no more, okay, now we're down to 75. Now we're down to 65. We got to make cuts.
We got to make cuts.
We got to see these other guys.
Something else I thought that was really a great point was I heard, I forget if it was earlier today on that same Fox Sports radio show, but anyways, it wasn't me that came up with this, but I heard somebody mention the idea that the joint practices that happen now, like the one that we had with the Lions,
right,
that you can get the same live looks at your starting quarterback against other first stringers in a more controlled environment because they're wearing the red jersey. You can keep the defense from hitting them. Anybody that's watched All or Nothing this year with the Cleveland Browns, Greg Williams, their defensive coordinator for the Browns, in one episode was screaming at his defense. Good defenses do not hit the quarterback in practice. Do you hear me? You do not hit. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
So if you can get the same looks at your quarterback in that environment where you can protect him, why play him in the preseason? Right? Like, I mean, I don't know. I think that it's definitely a sound strategy, And again, after seeing Cam Newton laying on his head, and it was like, I mean, that was scary looking, man.
Yeah, man.
And so, thankfully, Cam's okay. But yeah, I mean, that's fine. Derek's fine. We're gonna be just fine on that. All right. So one last thing in this game, Uncle Mosh, it was pretty funny. So there was a fan that ran on the field, Mosh. A fan ran on the field, and of course, NFL teams, the security teams, practice for when someone runs onto the field, right? They practice how to corral and how to protocol for everything. So in this, we didn't see it. I found a couple of YouTube videos of it. The guy runs on the field. He's in the black hole side on that end zone, and the first security guard goes out there, gets him on the ground, but then starts to kind of lose the battle a little bit, and so the guy starts to get the best of him. In fact, he's almost even starting to rip his security vest off. It's kind of funny, and of course, the black hole's just going crazy, cheering for it, and then the rest of the team comes in and takes the guy out and whatever, and so they get him off the field. So knowing that, and it was pretty funny. It reminded me of one of my favorite announcer moments in the NFL. It's a Niner game, so don't kill me, Raider Nation. But this was on Monday Night Football like 3 years ago, I want to say, and it was Kevin Harlan, who is a great announcer. It was Kevin Harlan, and it was like a really boring game. It was a Rams
Niner game. What do you expect?
Yeah, right. It was a Rams Niners, and the Niners were beating the crap out of them, and they were up by like 3 scores or something. And so, anyways, a fan runs on the field, and so Kevin Harlan, the TV stations have a protocol where they cut away; they don't ever show it, but he continued to call the action, and it's amazing. And so here it is.
3rd and 4, looks into the nickel of San Francisco in the secondary. Hey, somebody has run out on the field. Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt. He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest. Now he runs the opposite way. He runs to the 50. He runs to the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop that man.
Here comes the blue coat,
Oh,
Kevin.
they got him.
Here
They're
comes
coming
the blue
from the
coats.
left. Oh, and they tackle him at the 40-yard line. That was the most exciting thing to happen tonight.
I tell you what, that was a great call on your part. That was a great call. All right, I'm ready for the last 11:31 now, Kevin. Let's go.
Look at the police. They've surrounded this man like he is... like he's just robbed a bank.
I tell you what, he got a whole lap in before they got him. I mean, that was pretty good. I expected him to go down much sooner.
Yeah. But I hope it was worth it, my friend, because you've got a night in the clink coming up.
I love that. I've heard that 100 times. I love it every time.
Isn't it amazing?
He kills me. He's so good.
Funny. He's drunk. Oh, what a classic. What a classic. All right, Uncle Mosh, next up here on Raiders Fan Radio, episode number 92. We're going to head into the Sea of Fans mailbag, Uncle Mosh. We're going to listen to a couple of voicemails.
There he is, baiting, looking. He's under the gun. He's caught. He throws. It is
He caught it. He caught it.
Screech.
You got both of your nephews screeching on that one, Uncle Mosh.
Gosh, my whole life collapses when you play that.
All right, here we go. First up, let's hear from Red. He actually called before the last game, so he talked a little bit about the Rams game, but wanted to feature Made Man, Red up in Yakima.
What up, Murph? Uncle Mosh. This is Red up here in Yakima. Sonny, what's going on? Just found out that I've got my 7th on the way. Well, you're catching up. But anyways, the game was a little bit of a letdown to me. Only one that really stood out was Warren. He was an animal out there. I think he's going to sew up the second string running back position. I think he'll take it from Doug Martin. Jalen Richard showed flashes of being good out there too, and I guess last week sure as hell wasn't going to be the new normal for Connor Cook because he looked horrible. But Maurice Hurst got his first sack in the NFL, and we actually pulled an interception out of our ass. Well, hopefully we look better out there next week. Take it easy, guys. Go Raiders.
All right, Uncle Mosh, there's Red up in Yakima. Red's got every time there's an off season, apparently he's, they're with child.
Yeah. Not a lot to do in Yakima.
That's not. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, great voicemail there from Red. Appreciate you always supporting Raiders Fan Radio and being a made man here on Raiders Fan Radio. So Mosh, yeah, Warren, right? I mean, that's kind of my takeaway from that, is that Warren's going to make this football
every
team.
game.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go ahead. One more call, Uncle Mosh. We're going to hear from number 2. This is the second week in a row we've heard from this caller. This is Ken. And one more time, Ken, and you'll be a made man here on Raiders Fan Radio.
Yo, Murph, Uncle Mosh, Lil Murph. This is Monster Mash Ken calling from New York City. Anyway, I just wanted to go over the game, throw my 2 cents in there. First of all, it sucks watching on the East Coast. I'm like half asleep the next day, but well worth it. I wanted to say, Gunther, I think he's the real MVP. He's got these guys I've never seen the Raiders blitz so much before, and they're just getting after the quarterback. They're collapsing pocket. It's just great defense. The corners are actually guarding people. A couple of missed opportunities on interceptions, but that's all right. I think Luani, if he was able to snag a couple of these like last preseason, he could make a name for himself. But fortunately, that's probably why he plays defense. Other than that, I think the offense is other than Warren, it's kind of tough to watch. Penn, we got to figure that out. I don't know. Maybe they switch him back to left tackle or package him out and get a trade for a backup quarterback. Our backup quarterback play was, oh my goodness, Connor Cook. I mean, technically he threw 2 interceptions, and that other one would have been a pick 6. But luckily, we got the foul on us or for us. The referees, it looks like we're playing against the refs. I know it's preseason for them too, but geez, you saw Gruden getting livid on the sideline. Let these guys play. They're messing up the momentum. I don't know, but really worried about the backup quarterback situation. With Carr's track record, he might miss a game or two because he just can't keep it together. But hopefully I'm wrong. I love that guy. So happy he's my quarterback, and I wish him the best and to stay healthy. But if he goes down, we ain't gonna go nowhere, just like 2016. And I hope I'm wrong. But and one more thing, I think hopefully Mac was watching this game. I'm sure he was, and he's like, wow, I'm going to be going back to a great up front line. These guys are getting after the quarterback. I'm only going to add to the mix. I'm going to open up for other guys to get after the quarterback and Bruce Irvin. It's going to be great. I think I'm really excited for that squad. I hope it carries into the real season. I know a lot of people say, oh, it's just preseason, you're playing against backups. But you know what? I think these guys are playing for their jobs. They're playing for work. They're playing hard. They're probably playing harder than the people that have been playing for 10 years because they know they're going to make the team. So, you know what? They're competitive. They're doing their job. They're playing for their families in a contract. So I think these guys are laying it all out there. And they might not be as good, but you know what? They're playing hard. Thanks again for putting out great work for us fans during the long off season. One more preseason game to go, and then wait that full games for Sunday, and then Monday night, last but not least, save the best for last. Have a good week, guys. Talk to you guys next week. Raider Nation for life.
Awesome call, Ken. Great job. Thank you for calling us here on Raiders Fan Radio and supporting the show as you do. Ken's actually, we have 3 shows, on Murph's Fan Cave. We have this one, right? What's it called?
Raiders Fan Radio.
Raiders Fan Radio. We have this one, and then we have Mondays with Mikey and Murph that I do with a guy named
Mikey.
There you go. And then we have the Fan Club Blitz with
Splatterhead and Fitz.
That's right. And so Ken sent okay, let me back up. The Splatterhead and Fitz show, they interviewed their last episode, a lady that runs a Cowboys fan club in New York City. Ken works a block away from the bar and sent us a picture of him wearing his Raider gear in front of the Cowboys bar. It was awesome. Yeah, it was awesome.
Nice.
Very cool. Anyway, so Ken's become a great supporter of our show, good friend of the show. So thank you, Ken, for the call. And he mentioned Donald Penn, Uncle Mosh, switching over there to right tackle. He was on skates on that one play. Donald got bull rushed back into Derek Carr. It was a little bit scary, but outside of that, played a pretty decent game. What do you think?
Coach Olson says he looked very natural from his first day we put him out there. And then he said the thing that got me. He's been working out here after practice. Come on.
Nice,
the guy's a
nice.
pro.
Yeah.
And and Ken touched on, they're playing for their jobs, they're playing for their livelihood, they're playing for their families. Yeah, he's going to put in the work.
Yes.
We're talking about Penn here. This is not just some slouch,
Absolutely.
He's going to get it. He's going to get it. I got all the confidence in the world in him.
Guy's been in the league 14 years, 13 years, whatever it's been. Yeah, so absolutely. And good to hear because, it's nice to hear, although he's working, it's nice to hear good news surrounding Donald Penn.
We are Metallica, and we are here for your Oakland Raiders!
You know why we are here, and we ain't playing around today. From The Walking Dead to errant Jedi Knights, Raiders fans are a rogues gallery.
Ooh-hee-ha, Uncle Mosh.
Ooh-hee-ha. Why do I always cough when you have the camera
I
on
don't
me?
know. You do that a lot.
Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, Uncle Mosh, you don't play Madden.
No, I don't. I don't play. I play one game.
You play one game.
I play one game.
And it is?
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush.
I'm ranked internationally.
You are an international Candy Crush aficionado. Yeah. It's quite impressive. Yeah. Uncle Mosh, you and I played. I've only played a video game ever once with you.
One time.
And it was on old PlayStation. This was like PlayStation 1.
Yeah, PlayStation 1, yeah.
And it was a baseball game, and you could create your own player. And Uncle Mosh and I did Home Run Derby, and he wanted to create his own player. And so he created a guy that he played for the A's, and you were like 9 feet tall, like 360 pounds, and you were so big that your player wasn't even on the screen. Like you cut off at the shoulders. It was out of frame. He was so big, and you hit like a home run on every single pitch and beat me in the Home Run Derby, and I got mad at you and quit, and we have never played a video game together again.
And that's why we don't play anymore, because I'm undefeated.
All right, so for the YouTube crowd, I'm showing up my copy of Madden 19 right there. So as you can see, it is Derek Carr on the cover, and that is because I do not like the Steelers, and I do not like Antonio Brown. And Antonio Brown comes on the cover of this year's Madden. So I created my own cover to put on there, and I put up that picture up on Facebook and showed the split screen of the Antonio Brown cover with my sad face and then my happy face with Derek Carr. And immediately, everybody kind of freaked out. They're like, Murph, no, there's the Madden curse. Don't do that. Well, good news, Raider Nation. The Madden curse isn't what it once was. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, let's actually hear from the Raiders themselves, Uncle Mosh, on what they thought about this year's Madden ratings.
I'll take that. I'll take a 90 speed. I mean, the last couple years they've been like playing with me. I think I was like an 86 or something on it. So 90, I'll take that 90 for now. But eventually we got to get up to like that 93, 94. I'm gonna try to show that this shit at 93, 94.
I felt that was kind of low, but that gives me an opportunity to get it going.
Yeah.
A little added motivation for week one. It's gonna have to be a physical game, and if I have a dominant performance and I don't give up any sacks, that's Aaron Donald. So if I do that, EA Sports, if you're listening, that's a 99. You got to put me up to, you got to max me out on that.
I think that's close. It's right around there.
A lot better than last year.
82? Was it faster than EJ's?
EJ was an 83.
They put him one above. Oh my goodness. Just want y'all to know that I ran 0.01 seconds faster than him at the combine. So come on, Madden. Come on. No, I'm just kidding. I'm good with it.
All right, there's EJ Manuel, Kelechi Osemele, and Jalen Richard talking about their Madden ratings. I love how the players get wound up about their Madden ratings. I think that is so cool. I'd be the same way, you know what I mean? But so that's pretty cool to hear from them. So Uncle Mosh, so as I mentioned, I made my own custom cover, and most people liked it, but there was a few people in there that were like, and playfully saying, oh my gosh, if Carr gets hurt, it's your fault. So Uncle Mosh, is there truly still a Madden curse?
I don't think so. Of course, I'm not big on curses, but when I look over the stats and I'm looking at the folks, okay, so what does history tell us? Using from 1999 to 2009, how many of the cover athletes do you think were cursed?
Well,
that's 10.
How
many of those 10 do you think?
And I know this. It's 9.
Right.
9 of the 10 were cursed. So 9 of the 10 had a negative outcome to their season. So
right, and you're talking folks like Marshall Faulk, Dante Culpepper, Eddie George, Michael Vick, Ray Lewis, Donovan McNabb, Sean Alex, Vince Young.
Ray was the only one not cursed.
Ray was not cursed.
Everybody else, though,
Barry Sanders
had a season-ending injury or an off-season, just a completely disastrous. Sean Alexander fell off the map. The guy was one of the greatest running backs at the time. Fell off the map. Also, players like Peyton Hillis and whatnot.
Right.
So yes. So
I was saying, out of those 10,
the first 10 years, it was
9
pretty
of them
spot
was
on. Yeah.
Yeah, but the curse has kind of died, kind of like the SI curse.
Kind of like
it's kind of died out. You can compare them. So, with that being said, the last 10 years, the Madden curse has lost its power.
It's really not there. Brady was last year.
Yeah.
Brady went to the Super Bowl, and outside, he had a couple of bad plays in that game, but, by no means of measurement was his season a failure last year.
We're not talking the curse of the Bambino here. We're talking the Madden curse. If it was a curse, I don't think so. I think if you can go 9 of the first 10, maybe, but it's
down to like 5.
Like
the last one was Gronkowski, which was in 2017. But outside of that, maybe going back to Adrian Peterson, that could be considered one. But anyway, outside of that,
final word on that.
No curse. You got a soundbite for us?
Shoot, yeah.
This is Andrew DePaula, long snapper with the Oakland Raiders. You're listening to Murph with Raiders Fan Radio. Just win, baby.
If only Andrew DePaulo can get a decent Madden rating. The poor guy. Long snappers, man. Long snappers in the game are listed as tight ends, and they're all like 48 overalls. They're just terrible. Yeah. Anyways, all right. So, and we actually asked Andrew about that in our interview. It was pretty funny. All right, Uncle Mosh. So something that came out this week. So here's a fun story. And we're kind of getting up against the clock, so we'll have to keep this one brief. But a fun story that came out it came out in March, but for whatever reason, it's kind of rekindled itself a little bit in this past week. And I'm talking about Jamarcus Russell. We're rewinding the clock a little bit and going back to old Jabustus Fatback. I don't know why we got to talk to, but it's the story about him making it rain at a rookie meeting. And the rookies all have this a lot of times. If you've seen All or Nothing or Hard Knocks, the rookies are called upon to, quote, perform. And Jamarcus made it rain in his performance. And so anyway, so the story originally came out back in March when Kirk Morrison, former great linebacker for the Raiders, told the story as a guest host on the Rich Eisen show. So let's go back and let's listen to Kurt tell the story, firsthand account about what happened with Jamarcus in the rookie performances.
Jamarcus Russell story. I think this one's been told before. I think people know this one, but I think I'll revisit it. The story that I think was just hilarious, and it just kind of goes to show you what happened with Jamarcus Russell. He got drafted in 2007, and I remember it was a time where we just knew, like, Jamarcus Russell was like, how is this guy supposed to lead our franchise? So every year there's what we've seen rookie shows, correct? Remember that?
Right.
Remember, like, the rookie show is like, hey, all the rookies go up there and you do a skit or whatever it may be.
Sure.
So I remember that Jamarcus Russell wasn't a part of the rookie show because he held out. Remember, he held out the entire training camp.
Right. Yep.
So here we are getting ready for the 2007 season. We don't have our first overall pick because he's holding out. And then finally, they get the deal done, one of the richest deals in history. He's, the big bonus and all of that. And so, we're like, hey, Jamarcus, you got to have a rookie show. You got to have a rookie show. All right. So I remember the day he comes up, he walks in, and he has his backpack. And I'm like, all right, what kind of skit is he going to do? Here's our quarterback of the future. What is he going to do? And so we're all sitting there like, we can't wait. We're kind of on our, on edge. What is he going to do? What is he going to do? And I remember he pulls out, I would say at least $5,000 in ones in cash and literally made the entire meeting room rain. I mean, he threw dollars on. I mean, it was just flooded.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even look back at what the coaches were doing. I was just the one picking up all the money. You got I was like, I mean, literally, I was picking up. I think I may have grabbed at least probably $120 easily. I mean, I got a free haircut. I keep the haircut tight.
Sure,
you know what
of
I mean?
course.
I said pretty much, thank you, Jamarcus. So that's the first sign of we knew something was up.
You kind of knew it was downhill after that.
Unbelievable,
Oh my
Mosh.
gosh.
If
How
that
embarrassing.
Doesn't that just kind of epitomize what Jamarcus Russell was, hearing a story like that? I mean, it was by all accounts, it was all about the money for him. It was only about the money. And so anyway, so great story there, firsthand account from Kirk Morrison. But Uncle Mosh, the cool thing about this appearance that he had as a guest host on Rich Eisen is he told some more stories as well. He told one more Jamarcus story, and this one to me is equally fascinating.
Another funny story I remember was and this one kind of, a couple guys that you probably may know are still in NFL circles. So our quarterbacks coach at the time is the offensive coordinator currently for the Minnesota Vikings, brand new, John DeFilippo, the guy who I love. Just won a Super Bowl as the quarterbacks coach with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I remember the story as it was told to me was Coach DeFilippo said, look, Jamarcus, we've got about 15, 20 plays that we want for this week. Here's a DVD for you. Tonight, I want you to watch these, okay? Because tomorrow, this is what we're going to go with the game plan. But we feel like these are the best for you and what your skill set can do. So you look at these plays, and then tomorrow, you tell me which ones you like, which ones you don't like. So Jamarcus is like, cool. He takes the DVD. So the next day, they come to practice, come to the facility. Say, hey, Jamarcus, hey, how's that DVD? Did you look at it? What did it look? He's like, oh, coach, all the plays. I'm good. Whatever you want to run, let's do it. I like him. He said, okay, which ones you like? 5 of them? Do you like 6 of them? 10 of them? How much you like? Coach, whatever. I saw them, that we good. We ready to go. I can do them all. Coach DeFilippo was kind of looking around and was like, it was a blank DVD. So he didn't watch the DVD, but he told everybody, oh, y'all watched it. I did. And that's when I think they kind of knew, like, uh-oh, we're in trouble.
Oops.
Gosh, isn't it fascinating? To me, I don't know, man. I'm a sucker for lost souls anyways, but to me it's just fascinating that somebody could make it that far and to that level of being an athlete and just be kind of mailing it in all the time.
Almost like piss it all away,
Yeah, and I mean, because you hear the stories about Jamarcus being able to throw the ball 65 yards from his knees, and you hear about all those stories about his athleticism. And so at LSU, like, he just didn't do anything. Like, he just went out there and it's just anyway. I know the Jamarcus thing has been addressed numerous times, but when you hear things like this, it's just I don't know. It's just fascinating to me. But anyway, so one last thing on Kirk Morrison. He told some great stories about the dynamic between Lane Kiffin and Al Davis. And this is just this is gold, man. As a Raider fan, these firsthand accounts, it's just gold.
And Lane Kiffin was your head coach, right?
Yeah, I had Lane for 16 games.
And
he was my head coach for 16 games.
And how was that experience?
Actually, I'm sorry,
for you?
20 games. It was 20 games. I forget. It was 16, and then he had the 4 the following year. So 2007, he had 16.
And then the overhead projector happened.
And then the 76-yard field goal from Sebastian Janikowski was kind of like the walk-off move that he had. Yeah. So I remember that time that going into our bye week, too. So that's what happened. We started off 2-2 in 2007. We're like, oh, we got this thing moving. But in 2008, it was just, you could just feel like the tension in the room, like the tension in the facility was just different. Because here you had this young head coach in Lane Kiffin who got the opportunity, and then you had this, patriarch in Al Davis.
Right.
I mean, when Mr. Davis walked through, you knew, probably by the scent of his cologne for sure, but it was also because this was a guy who was all in on football, and he wanted to do things the Raider way. And Lane Kiffin was trying to do it his way. And when you have that tussle, that struggle going back and forth, you knew that the overhead projector was going to come out at some point. And that overhead projector came out.
Yeah, what did you make of that? What do you remember from that day?
I just remember that, Mr. Davis is a great man. He gave me my opportunity to play in the National Football League. I loved all our interactions and talking with him. Great football mind. It was to a point where Lane was trying to take the Raiders into a different atmosphere. And I don't know if he was mature enough at that time. And Mr. Davis wanted those things done his way, that way. And if you didn't do it, it was just, you had to go. And so I was with the Raiders for 5 years. I played for 4 different head coaches.
Next time, Raider Nation, you think it's bad. This is why when anybody's critical of Gruden, or regardless of what it is, frankly, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's him, quote, bringing in a bunch of old players, or his way of coaching or not playing. Anything that you have to be critical about John Gruden, none of it was as bad as those last few years of Al Davis. And Al Davis was the Maverick, and he's the Godfather, and he's and all the barriers that he broke, and all the wonderful, amazing things that he gave to us as fans, and as the man that fathered Raider Nation. As wonderful as all those things were, he was, getting ready to beat myself, he was batshit crazy the last few years he was around, and the Raiders were a batshit organization for those last few years. It was just nuts. So the way that we have it now, this is freaking amazing how well it's going. Don't you think, Mosh?
I want to ask myself, pardon me, I wonder if it was brute or high karate. Because I know whatever it was, he ordered it by the keg.
Or English leather. Oh, my gosh. So anyways, Raider Nation, man, it is, we are in good times.
Hey, just one time, I need it.
Raiders Fan Radio.
All right, Uncle Mosh, next up here on Raiders Fan Radio, getting ready to close this thing down. But before we do, we got one more segment, and then we have our interview with Kevin, the Raider nerd. Uncle Mosh, you want to tell us about our new segment here?
We got a brand new segment. I'm excited about it. That in post, actually, I guess it was in post, we came up with this idea. We were talking about some things, going over with some things, and I said, Murph, you got a pretty good football mind, and those that know me know that my mind's a little different. and that's okay. You explain a lot of things to me sometimes, and we work well together. So we came up with this new segment. It's called Murf Fundamentals. Hello, boys and girls. Thanks for joining me here today as your old Uncle Mosh takes us to class. Most of you have heard the phrases Hail Mary, shotgun, or onside kick. But have you ever wondered what the heck a Mike, Sam, or Will linebacker did? Do the phrases run and shoot, bull rush and nickel dime packages make you want to go pooch punt the Wildcat? Well, you're in luck. My little nephew Murph has a new flea flicker of a segment called Murf Fundamentals, where I ask him a question and he tries to teach this old dog some new tricks. All right, Murph. Now, we know that defense wins games and offense sells tickets. I mean, everybody knows that. But come on, Paul Guenther. Paul Guenther's great. We love Paul Guenther, but there's just some stuff, man. It makes me itch my head. I'm going crazy. There's numbers. We love numbers around here. We got 3 techniques. We got 5 techniques. We got 7 techniques and a 9+. Murph, help me out.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about numbers, Mosh. You know, we get a lot of numbers thrown around to us by analysts, and I love it that they don't dumb things down. I would rather you speak to me at a level that I don't understand and let me go out and research it and figure it out and then come back and then be able to process it. So I'm glad that guys like, you know, Brian Baldinger and Mike Mayock and all, whoever, you name it, that those guys, Charles Davis is great, guys that they don't dumb it down, that they speak to us in the terminology that would be used on the field. So there's a lot of numbers that get thrown around. Types of defenses. You hear 3-4, you hear 4-3, you hear nickel, you hear dime, you hear dollar, quarters. Those are just some of the Madden terms. Cover 2, cover 4. There's all kinds of different things that get thrown out. So let's talk about what the Raiders do. Let's talk about Paul Guenther. Paul Guenther is an amazing defensive coordinator. He's an amazingly innovative defensive coordinator, and he runs a zone-based 4-3 defense. So 4-3 means 4 down linemen and 3 linebackers. So if you hear it referred to as a team's front 7, those are the 7 they're talking about. So it's not your secondary. It's not the cornerbacks and the safeties. It's the front 7. So those front 7 are the 4-3. Now, you can also play a 3-4, which means you got 3 down linemen and 4 linebackers. That 4th linebacker is typically your edge rusher, so like Khalil Mack, right? Go. So Khalil Mack does both. The reason that he was a Pro Bowler at defensive end and linebacker is that they played a 3-4 and a 4-3, and he played that edge position on both. So in one of those, he's a defensive end. The other one that he's a linebacker. So that's the 4-3. Now, also in Guenther's defense, they play cover 2 and they play cover 4. So cover 2 is when you have 2, usually your safeties, play deep coverage, and they split the field in half and each play a zone. So since there's 2 of those zones, because it's cut in half, you have your cover 2. Now, you can also split that up into 4 sections, and that can be cover 4. So you would have your, say, 2 safeties and 2 cornerbacks all drop back to essentially equal depth and break the field into fourths. So there are your cover 4. So what we run for the Raiders, what Guenther will run, is a cover 2 or cover 4, 4-3 defense. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It all adds up to 11.
And it all adds up to 11. Now, what's amazing about Paul Guenther, and this is where that's the elementary part of it. That's the fundamental aspect of it. What's amazing about him is that he does within that, he runs 14 different. Now, this is just the stuff I found online. So who knows how accurate it is. So,
right.
So take it for what it is. But just understanding typically what this guy's known for. He runs 14 different defensive line fronts, 14 different stunts and twists, 15 different overall coverages, 20 blitzes out of that 4 down lineman front, 26 blitzes out of double A gap fronts, that's where you bring 2 linebackers in to cover up over the center, which we'll get to that in a minute. 19 blitzes out of odd fronts. And then he also has out of different options for facing unusual offensive sets. So like 4 receivers or the Wildcat, he has different sets for that, plus 10 to 12 red zone packages and 18 end of game packages.
You can't be an idiot to play that game.
Nor coach it. It's unbelievable.
Right?
It's
Unreal.
unbelievable. So all those things, whenever you hear the term hybrid, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about that you take the base of this 4-3, but then you change things in it, and it makes it a hybrid 3-4, 4-3, whatever. So, but that's the gist of it. All right, so one last thing we'll talk about as far as the Raiders defense, you're going to hear a lot about technique this year. You're going to hear it in reference to our defensive linemen, those amazing front seven that we've talked about tonight, the young men that we have, Key, Brown, Hurst, who am I missing? Calhoun, right? You're going to have Khalil Mack coming back. We're going to have Bruce Irvin coming back. We have all these guys, Mario Edwards, Justin Ellis, all these amazing pass rushers that we're going to have. Well, they're either going to be 4 or 5 up there on the line of scrimmage, usually just going to be 4, maybe even sometimes 3. But what we're going to do is we're going to have all these guys up there. Well, they're all going to align at different places in relation to the offensive line. That's their technique. Okay, so if you think of when you hear somebody referred to as a 3 technique, that means that they're going to line up on the outside shoulder of the guard. Okay, the reason that it's got a number 3 on it is that from the center out, the numbers get larger. The odd numbers are off the player. The even numbers are directly lined up with the player. So if you line up, if you're the nose, or if you're the center and I'm the nose tackle, and I line up directly across from you, that's a 0 technique. And then it grows out from there. So 2 to then 4 to then 6. Make sense?
Absolutely.
And then those odd numbers are off. So if I'm playing your shoulder instead of playing your nose, that's then where you get the odd number technique. So if you hear a guy referred to as a 5 technique, he's lining up outside the shoulder of the furthest tackle. Make sense?
Absolutely.
And then on the other side, the only time the numbers get funky is when you get to a tight end. Because if you line up all the way on the outside of a tight end, it's a 9 technique. If you've heard the term wide 9, that's what they're talking about. Is the wide 9 means you line up out there. If you line up inside, it's a 7. If you line up inside the tight end, and that's the only time that the numbers get off. And they're only off because Bear Bryant famously named them that way, and no one's had the balls to change it. So, anyways, how's that? Does that answer your question?
That's good to go. No, that is. That's great. That's good. Good job. Good job, my little nephew, my little smart nephew.
Hey, this is Pete Koch, former Los Angeles Raider. Yeah, back in the old days, baby. And you're listening to Murph and Uncle Mosh, who happens to have the same hair as me. Check it out, Raiders Fan Radio.
Check out the hair, Uncle Mosh. Your coif. You call that a coif?
Did I say it already that I decided that my hair's not going gray? It's silver and black.
Oh, nice, nice. Your hair's going silver and black. I like it. It is. Yeah. You've started to match your logo there on your shirt.
Match my logo, yeah.
Yeah, and then Pete Koch, he's actually a little bit ahead of you. He's got you once upon a time had much longer hair. But Pete's is kind of got that shag going a little bit there.
You're
still similar.
I'm kind of Pete's idol when it comes to hair. There's not a lot of things about me that Pete says I want to be like that guy. But that's the one thing that Pete wants to have my hair. When Pete's my age, he says I want to have Uncle Mosh hair.
Uncle Mosh hair. That's right. There you go. All right, Uncle Mosh. So last up on the show, lengthy show. Thank you for everybody that's joined us here on Raiders Fan Radio. So last up, we have an interview with Kevin, the Raider Nerd. As I mentioned at the top of the show, Kevin is the proprietor, founder, co-founder of the Fandom Podcast Network. You'll hear us tell the story about how we got to meet Kevin and how our shows became friendly with one another. And we've gotten to know Kevin and really enjoyed co-collaborating with him over this past year. And I look forward to more to come. So anyways, let's talk a little bit. I'm getting tongue-tied. Let's talk to Kevin. Let's hear his interview about his representing of Raider Nation. Those of you on the YouTube channel, you're just going to hear a brief pause, and then Uncle Mosh and I come back. Those of you on the podcast, well, here's the interview. All right, Uncle Mosh, there's our interview with Kevin, the Raider Nerd. Kevin repping Raider Nation globally, Uncle Mosh. How cool is that?
Kevin, he's a traveling guy, man. He's all over the place. I love it. And I love that he's always sporting his Raider gear, no matter where he goes.
Man.
Kevin, worldwide.
Worldwide, man. Absolutely. On multiple continents. I'm not a math guy, and I'm a little bit of a geography guy. But so Australia, that's a continent, right? Yeah. Europe is a continent.
Yep.
And then, of course, here North America is a continent. So he's got 3 continents.
He's rep Raider
Nation. That's pretty cool. So he lacks South America, Greenland, right? Is Greenland its own country?
Greenland is its own.
And then Antarctica, right?
Antarctica and Africa.
And Africa, right?
Yeah.
And
no, Asia.
Asia.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Get to work, Kevin.
Poor Kevin.
Poor Kevin. No, but anyway, we appreciate Kevin joining us here on another interview for Raiders Fan Radio. The first made man, Mosh, the first made man interview or interviewee that we've had here on the show. So we appreciate Kevin.
Wait till Pete Koch hears that.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Pete was in the running there.
Pete's got 2, and so Kevin's now up by 1.
Pete will be our first former player made man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Pastor Armando is also at 2 as well.
Yeah.
So anyways, but pretty cool. Hey, real quick, before we get out of here, Pastor Armando, our episode with him last week, Uncle Mosh, now the second highest rated episode we've ever had. It was well on its way to becoming number 1. And then Obi Melifonwu got cut. And so that episode with Obi, which was already high up anyways, that one got re-downloaded a whole bunch. And so it jumped it up still to be number 1, but not by much. It's by less than 100. But anyway, so pretty cool that Pastor Mondo was that well received. And so
he does a great job.
He does a great job. That was a good interview. So if you missed that one, definitely go back and check that out here on Raiders Fan Radio, episode number 91. But Mosh, that brings us to the end. So we are right around the corner from the regular season. We got one more preseason game on tap. We're going to see a lot more of the lower tier guys. We're going to see guys that are going to be fighting for a roster spot on the lowest end of it, and that's it. And then we'll get ready to kick off week 1, which thankfully I'm going to have the chance to attend the week 1 game. I've been talking to a lot of folks, a lot of fellow Raider Nation as far as game activities on that day and doing some recording and whatnot. We're going to do an episode of Mondays with Mikey and Murph just prior to the game. And so a lot of fun stuff going on around the week 1 game against the Rams. But other than that, that's all I got. You got anything?
We got a couple little things in the works. We are officially sold out of our old T-shirts.
Oh,
we
okay.
are sold
all
out.
Right.
So we're going to be taking some new T-shirt ideas.
Okay.
The Murph's Fan Cave shirt or the Uncle Mosh shirt.
All right. So hold on, let me get the camera over there for you. All right.
So you can see both of those.
There you go. Yeah.
On the website. So we're going to kind of take your suggestions on what you all want. And
Perfect.
That might be fun. Also, we're gonna do a little contest coming up. We'll talk more about that later because I always stumble and flub and have a good old time with the taglines. So we got us a little tagline contest. We're gonna probably talk about that and release that a little bit info on that.
Tagline contest because you're always doing the tagline.
I always mess up the taglines. Yeah.
So we were given the tagline From the Womb to the Tomb by Emiliano. That was a great one.
It was a great one.
So we'll have maybe have folks call in and leave us your tagline ideas, and we'll pick one.
Yeah.
And then we'll reward you not only by playing your tagline on the show, but maybe
we'll throw some swag your way or something.
Some swag.
Yeah,
I got a box of swag from I know a guy.
Yeah.
I got a guy. His name is Jeff, Raider Jeff, and from Dead Pirate Sports, and he hooks me up with Raider swag. And I know a guy who's got some T-shirts.
Yeah,
me. We might package together a little gift basket for you, little Raiders Fan Radio gift bag, and send you that if you get the tagline.
We're gonna do the best and the worst.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I like it.
We'll do the best, once a week, we'll do the best, and then we'll do the worst tagline of the season.
Oh, I like it. I like that.
we might even have the fans vote on that.
That's awesome. I love that.
We'll work it out. We're working out all the deets on that. But so let us know your T-shirt ideas.
Absolutely. Yes, do that, and please do that on all of our social medias. You can find us on Facebook. You can find the network is Murph's Fan Cave. You can find murphsfancave.com. There's a Facebook for Murph's Fan Cave. There's even a Twitter. I don't really use it a ton, but I wanted to claim the spot.
Yep.
But you can for sure find Raiders Fan Radio everywhere. You can find us on Facebook, and you can find us at RaidersFanRadio.com. You can find that on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us pretty much anywhere there is social media, and you can also find Uncle Mosh and myself. You can find us. I am at _Murph, and he is.
What am I at?
Uncle _Mosh.
I'm at Uncle _Mosh.
Yeah. You can find him there. And then for those of you that aren't watching us live on YouTube right now, you can find our Murph's Fan Cave YouTube channel is youtube.com/MurphFanCave, and you can find, it's pretty easy, and you can find all of our stuff there. You can find a couple of faces made for radio, broadcasting live every Sunday, and then you can also find all of the audio versions of our show, and this show, plus Mondays with Mikey and Murph, and the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. So you can find those guys. And then, gosh, I think that's it. Oh, scheduling. Are we going to do one more Sunday show?
Probably do one more Sunday.
One more Sunday show, and then we will move this to Wednesday night recordings. And then you'll be able to find Raiders Fan Radio will drop on Wednesday night, and then that Friday will be the Fan Club Blitz, and then that following Monday, right before Monday Night Football, we'll drop the new Mondays with Mikey and Murph. So definitely check out all that stuff. Thank you to you, those of you that watched us live tonight. See all of you in the chat. Running Bear, Dakota Raider, White Stallion, Watts Raider, Ron, Alexander. There's a whole bunch of them in there, so thank you to you all. And I can't scroll up to see everyone that's been there, so appreciate those of you that have joined us in the chat live here on YouTube. And we'll see you next week for episode number 93. Uncle Mosh, you want to hit him with a tagline? We'll get out of here.
Absolutely. Raiders Fan Radio, taking a lighter side journey into the dark side.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah, it is. I wrote that.